I think there's often sometimes a side of me as a black man I don't get to reveal. That's what I'm doing on this page. There was a once a side of me that I was too afraid to embrace. The side of the media doesn't recognize, but only shies away from sometimes. The side of the media tries to run away from. The side that I tried to run away from for a very, very long time. With the narrative they're trying to paint, they kill off anything that doesn't resonate with it quickly. But me being a person, not even just a black man, a whole person, soft, tender, thoughtful, unsure, emotional, and artistic, you know, the world, not even just the world, the media so often decides what a black man should look like. And I'm here to let you know that it's okay to be who you are, dear black man. Even before you had the chance to decide for yourself, the media already depicted who you once were. And sometimes when we see that, we run with it, you know. When we don't match their image, as this loud, angry, tough, and vulnerable person, they either try to erase us from, their painting, or try to warp us into fitting the frame. You know, that side of us that was too afraid to embrace that truth of us, you know, that side of us who felt fear because, we didn't want to be that. We conformed in a way. And I'm speaking from experience back when I was in middle school, you know. I conformed easily, and I look back at it not as a disappointing time, but as a time of, dang, I really wish I had more people like me, and that's where I feel like I'm getting at right now. If there's any time to come together as one, now is it. Now is the time, you know. And there's no need to hide from who you are anymore. There's no need to run, you know. God has crafted you into a lovely and beautiful individual. There's no need to run away from that person. There's no reason to run away from God. There's no reason to run away from his craftsmanship, because you as a person is beautifully, fearfully, and wonderfully made, you know. And that's who you are. There's no need to shy away from it. We've learned how to survive in that tension, you know. We wear a mask over our emotions because we've never been taught. We've never been taught that feeling emotions is what makes us stronger, not makes us weak. We speak in, half truths to make our full selves feel too complex for public consumption. We dress a certain way, we walk a certain way, we speak a certain way, not just for style, but for safety sometimes. We adapt, not because, we're not authentic, but because we're unprotected. We've never been taught how to live strongly in who we are. The world is still uncomfortable with a black man who chooses to define himself instead of being defined. The world is still very uncomfortable with not having control over our narratives, And, what happens to the boy that cries silently because his tears were seen as rebellion? What happens to the man who questions everything but learn how to smile and nod? What happens to the spirit inside that longs to express without being interrogated? As a black man, we bury those parts. Or we convince ourselves they're never really there. Until one day you realize that you spent years living as a version you've edited for public viewing, and you've lost complete sight of who you are. A highlight reel with none of the nuance. You've been carrying the weight of two identities. The one they accept and the one that you're afraid to love. But I'm here to let you know that you don't need to ask for acceptance anymore. Your softness is not a threat, it's a sacred act of rebellion. That tenderness is not your weakness, it's a form of protest in a world that wants you numb. That your desire to be seen wildly, deeply, emotionally, it's not selfish, it's necessary. We're human. Nobody can deny you of the right of being human. They never wanted to see the side of us. That doesn't mean it's not real, that doesn't mean it's not worthy. Just because they see something, they say something, doesn't make it the truth. This side of me that wants to listen to music to escape, but it's to remember who I am. This side of me who writes because silence was never meant to be a home. This side of me that prays, not to perform faith, but how to find rest in it. This side of me that feels deeply, thinks deeply, loves deeply, and that depth is divine. I used to fear this part of myself sometimes, you know. I used to fear it because I didn't know how people would accept it. I thought it would make me less of a man. Now I see it for what it is, truly. It's the foundation of my manhood, and it's not a detour, but the destination. I'm not becoming less black by embracing my complexity. I'm honoring it, even in a way. I'm not losing strength by allowing softness. I'm redefining it. I'm redefining who I am, not just based off what the world wants, because of what I want, what you should want. Yes, there was once a time where I didn't know what I wanted. There was once a time where I was, I guess, quote unquote, sleep. I was trying to feel something that they, trying to feel something beyond the script they handed me at birth. Because being a black man in this world often means that you're given a role to play way before you even get to speak. You grew up rehearsing lines you never wrote. You don't get to cry. You have to be strong. You have to have it together. You don't talk about it. Just be about it. And somewhere in there, I figured that that's not me. Somewhere in there, I stopped asking who I really was because I'm too busy surviving who they told me to be. I carried that version of myself for so long, smiling but not always present, loud in the crowd but quiet in spirit, feeling too much, not and telling myself to man up. And the media didn't help me at all. I'm telling y'all, social media is the biggest enemy out here, man. I'm telling y'all. They paint us in the extremes. We're either broken or invincible, either criminals or kings, either gods or ghosts. But what if we're just human? What if we talk to God at 2 a.m. because no one else would understand the weight that we carry? What if we just want to be, you know? They shy away from that version because it's uncomfortable for them. The quiet one, the introspective one, the spiritually in tune one, the artist, the overthinker, the lover. They don't know what to do with that version of a black man who isn't trying to prove anything to anyone, who just wants to be true, so they erase him. They erased me. I erased myself. You know, I erased myself. And I want this video to be a lot about just understanding that there's no need to try to fit into the world. The world has nothing for you. The world never gave you anything. If anything, it took everything away from you. If anything, the world tried to paint you in a light that dimmed you, paint you in a version that hid you, paint you in some form of display that everybody got to see. That even in a museum, people will just walk over it because they've seen the story way too much. It's like that story has become comfort for people. Oh, another black man doing this and that. Oh, wow. I wonder who's gonna, break the mold. You can. We can. And if there's enough of us willing to break out of that mold, then that lens will expand. That lens will open up. That lens will begin to show all of us. And we need to be willing to embrace that. We need to be willing to embrace everything that we come with. Nobody cares about, I don't care about this whole baggage thing, I'm human. I'm gonna have things that I want. You're human, you're gonna have things that you want. Don't allow you being human to take life away from you. God bless you all. I love you all so much. Thank you for watching.